Vítejte, dobrý večer.
You are the witnesses of the dawn of the promised day of God.
With thy inward eye,
the chain of successive revelations
that hath linked the manifestation of Adam with that of the Bob.
Vážení, dobrý večer. Moje jméno je Dahl.
My name is Michael.
Dnes vás budeme provázet tímto nádherným večerem. Rádi bychom vás jménem Bahai společenství Hluboké přivítali na oslavě 200letého výročí narození Bába.
In the name of, or on behalf of the Baha'i community in Hluboká, we would like to welcome you to the celebration of the Bicentenary of the birth of the Bab.
Než teda začneme, budou nějaký modlitby. Na úvod ty budou jak čtené, tak i zpívané. Já vás prosím, abyste nechali potlesk až na konec a netleskali hned po přečtení modlitby. A potom vlastně s Míšou představíme program a proč jsme se tady sešli na této významné události.
So we're going to start with some prayers and songs. So we would like to ask you to hold your applause for afterwards, or maybe don't clap at all. Just clap afterwards. Afterwards, we're going to guide you through the program and just talk about why we're here.
Glory be to thee, O God. For thy manifestation of love to mankind. O thou who art our life and light, guide thy servants in thy way, and make us rich in thee, and free from all save thee. O God, teach us thy oneness, and give us a realization of thy unity, that we may see no one save thee. Thou art the merciful and the giver of bounty. O God, create in the hearts of thy beloved the fire of thy love, that it may consume the thought of everything save thee. Reveal to us, O God, thine exalted eternity, that thou hast ever been and wilt ever be, and that there is no God save thee. Verily in thee will we find comfort and strength. Baha'u'llah, 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 Baha'u'llah.
The well-being of mankind, its peace and security are unattainable unless and until its unity is firmly established.
The betterment of the world can be accomplished through pure and goodly deeds, through commendable and seemly conduct.
To act like the beasts of the field is unworthy of man. Those virtues that befit his dignity are forbearance, mercy, compassion, and loving kindness towards all the peoples and kindreds of the earth.
O ye children of men, the fundamental purpose animating the faith of God and His religion is to safeguard the interests and promote the unity of the human race, and to foster the spirit of love and friendship amongst them. O Son of Man, magnify my cause, that I may reveal unto thee the mysteries of my greatness and shine upon thee. O Son of Man, magnify my cause, that I may reveal unto thee the mysteries of my greatness and shine upon thee. With light of eternity, with light of eternity.
O Son of Man, magnify my cause,
that I may reveal unto thee
the mysteries
of the greatness and shine upon thee of eternity.
O Son of Man, magnify my cause, that I may reveal unto thee the mysteries of my greatness and shine upon thee. With the light of eternity, with the light of eternity, O Son of Man. Magnify my cause, that I may reveal unto thee the mysteries of my greatness and shine upon thee. With the light of eternity, with the light of eternity.
O Son of Man.
Bůh mi postačuje, On je vše postačující. Bůh mi postačuje, Bůh mi postačuje, On je vše postačující. Já váhám, já váhám, já váhám, labám. Já váhám, já váhám, já váhám, labám. God is sufficient unto me, God is sufficient unto me. He is the all-sufficing. God is sufficient unto me, God is sufficient unto me. He is the all-sufficing. Yahweh, 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 Labah. Yahweh, 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 Labah.
Staňte se pravými bratry v jediném, nerozdělitelném náboženství Boží.
Cesta k vedení je cestou lásky a soucitu, ne síly. To byla Boží metoda v minulosti a bude i nadále v budoucnosti.
Pro žádnou duši úžasnější právě není, nežli být vystavena projevu Božímu výhodní, slyšet jeho verše a uvěřit jim.
Jest lepší jednu duši vésti, než vlastnit jí vše, co na zemi jest.
Bůh mi postačuje, Bůh mi postačuje, On je vše postačující. Yahweh, 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 Labah.
Dámy a pánové, asi se ptáte, proč jsme tady dneska a co vůbec slavíme.
You might be asking, why are we here and what are we actually celebrating?
Ve zkratce, Bahai víra slaví 200 let své existence.
As a shortcut, the Baha'i faith celebrates 200 years of existence.
A pojďme si teda ukázat ve zkratce historii Bahai víry a kdo jsou hlavní představitelé.
So let's see again in shortcut, what are the main people in Baha'i faith and the main dates.
Každé náboženství má svého posla. Například pro islám je to Muhammad, pro křesťanství je to Ježíš.
Each religion has their prophet. Christianity has Jesus, and Baha'i faith has Allah and Ba.
A jak Míša napověděl už, Bahai víra má dokonce 2 posly boží. Ten první je Báb a zrovna dneska slavíme 200 let od jeho narození. Ten druhý se jmenuje Baha'u'lláh.
Yes, so as I said, there are 2 manifestations. The first one is Bab, and today we celebrate his 200th birthday, and then there's Baha'u'llah, who would be now 202.
No a protože to může být docela zmatečný, tyhle ty perské tituly a názvy, máme tady takovou infografiku, která ukazuje, co se vlastně stalo.
And as these Arabic names could be confusing, we have a little slide to make it a bit easier to understand.
Takže v roce 1819 se narodil páp a jeho funkce, a on přišel na tenhle svět jako posel Boží, aby řekl, že brzo přijde posel Boží. Podobně jako třeba v křesťanské tradici Jan Křtitel předpověděl, že přijde Ježíš, tak Bábova úloha byla velmi podobná.
So Bob was born 1819, and his mission was to tell people and to prepare people for the coming of Baha'u'llah. A similar thing happened in Christianity when John the Baptist was telling about Jesus coming.
A během dnešního večera budeme oslavovat 200 let od Bábova narození. To je hlavní důvod, proč jsme tady, ale taky musíme říct, že možná někteří z vás tady byli před 2 rokama, v roce 2017, kdy jsme slavili 200 let od narození Baha'u'lláha, což vlastně vidíte v tom předposledním. Takže poslední 2 roky byly plné velice veselých událostí pro mezinárodní Bahá'í společenství.
So today we're here celebrating 200th birthday of Bob. Some of you might remember that you were here 2 years ago, 2017, celebrating the 200th birthday of Baha'u'llah. So the last 2 years were very exciting and eventful for the Baha'i community all around the world.
A jenom doplním, že Báb je arabský titul, který znamená brána. A brána, protože Báb předpověděl právě příchod proroka Baha'u'lláha.
So just to add, Bab is a title, and it means the gate. Gate because he was preparing and opening the world for Baha'u'llah.
A teď další obrázek. Bahá'í věří, že existuje jeden Bůh a všechny náboženství jsou z božího zdroje.
So another slide. Baha'is believe that there's one God and that all the religions come from the same God, the same source.
Tady vidíte tu ilustraci, která ukazuje, že náboženství přichází postupně a řeší problémy dané doby.
So here you can see that the religions come at different times, and they are all updated to the times and the needs of the specific time period.
A hlavní koncept je jednota, že všichni jsme si rovní, protože pocházíme od stejného Boha, stejně tak jako všechna náboženství pochází od stejného tvůrce.
So the main concept here is unity, because we all come from the same creator and all the religions come from the same God.
A během dalšího představení nám ukáže právě znázornění jednoty.
And the next performances are going to show us unity and diversity.
Děkujeme.
Thank you.
In the beginning was the Word, an idea, an amoeba beside the eye of the truth seer, and Adam and Eve. The trees breathe, bearing fruits that fall to earth, carrying man's seed. A rational soul, irrational, cold, and vicious superstitions, worshipping their idle wishes. Then came Abraham, the friend, to end the facades, smash idols, and establish the title of the one God. Build the Kaaba, which is still there, a symbol of the covenant established for man's care.
Moses, a murderer, a sheep herder, a coward, from a burning bush the exerter of God's power, held the key to free the slaves, part the Red Seas in the season of Pharaoh's days. Arrogant, he lost his son. When God says walk, as a word to the wise, run. And the law was established, and the tribes of the Israelites followed God's commandments. 3 kings from the east followed a star, anticipating for the birth of the Prince of Peace. The Zenobesta had brought them, taught them, the most modern-day Bible, scholars forgot them. Zoroaster, a prophet, same as Jesus, though the blind never find time to see this. The Messiah manifested soon to die for the sins of man and be resurrected. Holy Spirit in his hand, the Son of God, in some translations, the Son of Man. Aramaic in his land, probably tan, but his color is irrelevant to those who understand. Taught love and forgiveness. Don't cast the first stone unless thou themselves are sinless. That life is endless, paradise awaits. Heaven and hell, not where you dwell, but a mental state. And the debate is irrelevant, because the Nasdaq would be crucified if we missed it. I digress to my own test, but unless I serve God, my arms are useless.
To Muhammad, the seal. The word of the day was submission to God's will. Cleanse the house of Abraham. The circle of life is now the circle of man. 5 times a day we pray to Mecca, now changed from Jerusalem. Arabic, Assalamu alaikum. And now once again the false idols are forsaken. Ali led the faithful so the tribes could unite, flourish, and live grateful. 12 imams, 6 pillars of Islam. But Muhammad died, and the Quran carried his wisdom. And Shiites and Sunnis began their beliefs separate, and no hatred could unite again. Christian kings led crusades to which they will repent in the coming of the last days. Thou shalt not kill, but it seems man adds creed to God's will. Jesus related to Muhammad by blood. My advice, don't blame Christ for what a church does. An eclipse of the sun, as all religions await the coming of the promised one.
Sheikh Ahmad and Said Kazim found the signs and taught Mullah Hussein to follow them. 18 would arise, serve the Bab, and sacrifice their own lives. The Bab was the way, the gate, a thief in the night, as Christ would say.
Qudus and Tahir, 2 stars in the dark night that led the way. The twin trumpet blasts had passed, and the glory of God set about fulfilling God's task. Baha'u'llah, or the return of Christ, the Mahdi, 12th Imam, the Islamic cycle's birthright, with a new name and a new face and a new revelation to unite the human race. O people of the half-light, arise and make haste. Arise and make haste. Arise and make haste.
Dahl a Baha'u'llah se společně jmenují dvojí projevy boží.
Bob and sorry. Bob and Dahl are together called the twin manifestations of God.
Tyhle ty dvojí projevy Boží přináší učení o jednotě lidstva.
And these twin manifestations bring teachings about the unity of mankind.
Tyhle ty učení teď pronikají do celého světa. Ostatně i mnoho významných českých a československých osobností je komentovali.
And these teachings get into the world. Also, the many important Czechoslovakian figures have commented on them.
Jako například profesor Masaryk, doktor Edvard Beneš,
For example, Mr. Masaryk or Mr. Beneš,
anebo dokonce Václav Havel, který řekl o Bahai víře, je to velké duchovní učení, které se plně snoubí s mou filozofií.
or for example, Václav Havel, who said what Elder just said. He said it in Czech, so you wouldn't understand everything.
So in English, Václav Havel commented that the Baha'i teachings are a great teaching, and they are fully in harmony with my philosophy. And Václav Havel's philosophy was one of freedom and democracy.
Yeah, only in Czech.
Mezi hlavní koncepty Baha'i víra právě této jednoty patří odstranění všech předsudků.
That's one of the things in the teachings. We need to remove all prejudice.
Jako například nenávist kvůli rase nebo pohlaví, anebo musíme prosazovat rovnost příležitostí pro všechny, bez ohledu na to, odkud jsou nebo odkud pochází.
So no hatred towards people because of their race, color, or their gender. There should be equal opportunities for everyone, no matter where they come from, or their origin, or any differences in their looks.
Avšak velmi důležité je zmínit, že to v žádném případě neznamená, že bychom všichni měli být stejní.
But by no means does that mean we should all be equal.
Naopak, měli bychom prosazovat jednotu v naší rozmanitosti.
More to the opposite, we should go for unity and diversity.
A následující představení budou oslavovat právě tu jednotu ve velké rozmanitosti. Já myslím, že nějakou tu rozmanitost už jste tady během večera viděli.
And the following presentations or performances are going to show us this diversity. And maybe you've seen some already throughout the evening.
Děkujeme.
Thank you.
Blessed is the spot and the house and the place and the city and the heart and the mountain and the refuge and the cave and the valley and the land and the sea and the island and the meadows, where mention of God hath been made and his praise glorified. Blessed is the spot and the house and the place and the city and the heart and the mountain and the refuge and the cave and the valley and the land and the sea and the island and the meadows, where mention of God hath been made and his praise glorified. Where mention of God hath been made and his praise glorified. We are drops of one ocean, We are waves of one sea. Come and join us in our Man is one. Man is one. Can't you see? Can't you see? Come and join us. Come and join us in our quest for unity. It's a way of life for you and me. You and me.
Můžete zpívat se mnou.
One by one, two by two, four by four, love grows. Love like a circle, comes from knocking at your front door. One by one, two by two, four by four, love grows. Love like a circle, comes from knocking at your front door. One by one, two by two, four by four, love grows. Love like a circle, comes right knocking at your front door.
Učil jsem se litery, jedna, dvě, tři, čtyři.
konec. Tak tohle to byla krásná písnička. Já jsem se jenom ptal, v jaký jazyce byla. Tak byl to mix angličtiny a jazyk, který se jmenuje... And where is it spoken? A je to jazyk, který se mluví mimo jiné v Jižní Africe.
So just about the song, it was a mix of English and the language that's spoken in South Africa.
Wonderful. Protože dneska oslavujeme život bába, následující představení budou představení o důležitých momentech v jeho životě.
Since we're celebrating Bab's birthday, today, the following presentations and performances are going to be about his life.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At a time when the revelation of Muhammad had been obscured by the ignorance and fanaticism of his contending faiths, a man named Sheikh Ahmad set out to awaken the peoples of Islam from negligence and prepare the way for a new manifestation. Upon his death, he committed his disciples to the care of Sayyid Kazem, his most distinguished student. Before passing, Sayyid Kazem exhorted us as his followers to scatter far and wide in search of the Promised One, he whom God shall make manifest. I gathered together his most trusted and fellow disciples and restated Sayyid Kazem's last wishes, for us to leave our homes and scatter far and wide and seek the Promised One, with a heart full of purity and prayerfulness. I tried to encourage them, but soon left for Najaf with my brother and nephew. I spent 40 days in prayer fasting at a mosque in Karbala. After 40 days, I left Karbala with my companions and traveled to Bushir on the Persian Gulf. Drawn as if by a magnet, we went north to Shiraz. Arriving at the gate of the city, instructed my brother and nephew to go to a mosque and remain until my arrival. I walked outside the gate of the city. A few hours before sunset, my eyes fell upon a youth of radiant countenance. This youth wore a green turban, a sign that he was a descendant of the Prophet Muhammad. He advanced towards me with a smile of loving welcome and embraced me with tender affection. At first I thought, perhaps this is a disciple of Sayyid Kazem come to welcome me. He warmly invited me to his home and refreshed myself after the fatigues of my journey. I asked to be excused as my companions were awaiting my return. Commit them to the care of God. He will surely watch over them. He bade me follow him. I was impressed by the gentle yet compelling manner he spoke to me. As I followed him, his charm of voice and dignity of bearing enhanced my impressions of this unexpected meeting. Upon arrival at the gate, I saw a house of modest appearance. We knocked on the door, which was opened by an Ethiopian servant. As the youth entered, he said, "Enter there in peace, secure," and motioned me to follow. Might not my visit to this house enable me to draw nearer to the object of my quest? Might not it hasten the period of intense longing, of strenuous search and increasing anxiety? A feeling of unutterable joy invaded my being. He bade me wash away from hands and feet the stains of my travel. I pleaded permission to retire from his presence and perform my ablutions in an adjoining room, but he refused to grant my request and began to pour the water over my hands. He then offered me a refreshing beverage and prepared tea which he offered me himself. Overwhelmed by his extreme kindness, I arose to depart. Evening prayer is approaching, and I promised to join my companions. With extreme courtesy and calm he replied, "You must have surely made your return conditional upon the will and pleasure of God. It seems that his will has decreed otherwise. You need have no fear of having broken your pledge." His dignity and self-assurance silenced me. I renewed ablutions and prepared to pray. He too stood beside me and prayed as well. While praying, I unburdened my soul, which was much oppressed, both by the mystery of this interview and the strain and stress of my search. I breathed this prayer: I've striven with all my soul, O my God, and until now, have failed to find thy promised messenger. I testify that thy word faileth not, and that thy promise is sure. The hour after sunset, my youthful host began to converse with me. Whom, after Sayyid Kazem, do you regard as his successor and your leader? I replied that at the hour of his death, that Sayyid Kazem insistently exhorted us to forsake our homes, to scatter far and wide, and to seek the promised one. He whom God shall make manifest. He then asked, has your teacher given you any detailed indications as to the distinguishing features of the promised one? Yes, I replied. He is of pure lineage. His age will be more than 20 and less than 30 years old. He will be endowed with innate knowledge. He will be of medium height and abstain from smoking and be free of bodily deficiency. He paused for a while, and then with a vibrant voice declared, behold, all these signs are manifest in me. I was surprised and politely observed. Many and diverse are the requirements which he who claims to be its visible embodiment must needs fulfill. The knowledge of the promised one is vast. No sooner had those words dropped from my lips than I found myself seized with fear and remorse, such as I could neither conceal nor explain. I bitterly reproved myself and resolved at that very moment to alter my attitude and to soften my tone. I vowed to God that should my host again refer to the subject, I would with utmost humility answer and say, if you be willing to substantiate your claim, you will most assuredly deliver me from the anxiety and suspense which so heavily oppresses my soul. I had set two standards for finding the promised one. The first, a treatise I had written about the abstruse and hidden teachings of Sheikh Ahmad and Sayyid Kazem. If he could unravel the mystery in that treatise, I would submit to him my second standard. Unasked, he would reveal, without the least hesitation or reflection, a commentary on the story of Joseph, in a style and language entirely different from the prevailing standards of our time. I previously requested Sayyid Kazem to write a commentary on this story, but he refused, saying, this is verily beyond me. He, that great one who comes after me, will, unasked, reveal it for you. That commentary will constitute one of the weightiest testimonies of his truth, and one of the clearest evidences of the loftiness of his position. My host graciously complied with my wish to read the treatise I prepared. Within a few minutes, he had with characteristic charm and vigor unraveled all its mysteries and resolved all its problems. He further expounded to me certain truths which could not be found in the hadiths nor in the writings of Shaykh Ahmad or Sayyid Kazem. These truths, which I had never heard before, seemed to be endowed with refreshing vividness and power. My host afterwards observed, had you not been my guest, your position would indeed have been a grievous one. The all-encompassing grace of God has saved you. He then proceeded to say, now it is time to reveal the commentary on the story of Joseph. He took up his pen and with incredible rapidity revealed the entire story of Mulk, the first chapter of his commentary on the story of Joseph. The overpowering effect of the manner in which he wrote was heightened by the gentle intonation of his voice, which accompanied his writing. Not once did he pause till the story of Mulk was finished. I sat enraptured by the magic of his voice and the sweeping force of his revelation. At last, I reluctantly arose from my seat and begged leave to depart. He smilingly bade me seated and said, if you leave in such a state, whoever sees you will assuredly say, this poor youth has lost his mind. At that moment, the clock registered 2 hours and 11 minutes after sunset on May 22nd, 1844. This night, he declared, this very hour will, in the days to come, be celebrated as one of the greatest and most significant of all festivals. Oblivious of time and of those who awaited me, the call summoning the faithful to their morning prayer suddenly awakened me from the state of ecstasy into which I seemed to have fallen. I was enthralled by the music of that voice which rose and fell, as my host chanted, now swelling forth as he revealed the verses of the Qayyum al-Asma. O thou who art the first to believe in me, verily I say I am the Bab, the gate of God, and thou art the Babul Bab, the gate of that gate. 18 souls must in the beginning spontaneously and of their own accord accept me and recognize the truth of my revelation. Unwarned and uninvited, each of these must seek independently to find me. It is incumbent upon you not to divulge, either to your companions or to any other soul, that which you have seen and heard. Be engaged in prayer and teaching. We shall appoint unto each of the 18 souls his special mission, and send them forth to accomplish their task. We shall instruct them to teach the word of God and to quicken the souls of men. Having spoke these words to me, he dismissed me from his presence, accompanying me to the door of the house. He committed me to the care of God.
Děkujeme za tyto představení o životě Bába.
Thank you for this performances about the life of Bob.
Perzie v roce 1850 nebyla místem náboženské svobody.
Persia in 1850 was not a place of religious freedom.
Báb a jeho stoupenci byli pronásledováni.
Bob and his followers were persecuted.
A podobně jako mnoho ostatních postů božích, Báb byl umučen v roce 1850 místní vládou v Perzii.
And similarly to other prophets of God, Bob was in the year 1850, executed by the government.
Další představení budou připomínat právě tuto událost.
The following performances are going to remind us of that occurrence.
The Christian Armenian commander, Sam Khan, son of a military man and a tailor. His family moved to Tabriz, where his father trained young army recruits. At the age of just 16, Sam Khan himself joined the army, first as a sergeant, then as a lieutenant, and later as a captain. At the age of 21, 750 men would dedicate their lives to him. In early July of 1850, he received an order to execute a political prisoner who had supposedly mounted an effort to overthrow the king.
He was a man named Sayyid Ali Muhammad, who had taken the name of the Bab, meaning the gate in Arabic. At first, I was anxious to discharge my duty, to relieve the country of such an evil. But then, I saw him, the Bab. He was so beautiful. I can never describe the power and majesty that rested on his brow, nor can I place into words the sensation of fear that overtook me as I contemplated giving the order to my men, the order that would take his life in such a violent manner. I was torn in agony about this when I finally got to attain his presence. I will never forget the brief exchange that we shared that day. I entreated him as such. I profess the Christian faith and entertain no ill will against you. If your cause be the cause of truth, allow me to free myself from the obligation to shed your blood. What happened next changed my life forever. It was impossible, but I saw it with my own eyes. And if that is not enough, you can ask one of the 10,000 that were there to witness it.
The Bab was suspended with ropes hung by a nail from the exterior of the prison wall, along with a valiant youth who held the title of his. I heard things about this youth. When Bob said, "Tomorrow will be the day of my martyrdom. Would that one of you might now rise and, with his own hands, end my life. I prefer to be slain by the hand of a friend, rather than by that of the enemy." Anis himself, with such devotion, sprang to his feet and announced himself ready to obey whatever the Bab might desire. That youth had, of his own accord, chosen to die alongside the Bab, a feat that defies imagination. Reluctantly I watched.
I assembled my men into 3 ranks. I was trembling as I gave the order.
Each rank comprised of 250 men. As was customary procedure, each of the 3 ranks discharged their weapons one after the other. The very moment the shots were fired, a gale of exceptional severity arose and swept over the whole city. A whirlwind of dust of incredible density obscured the light of the sun and blinded the eyes of the people.
I stood there motionless, watching the scene unfold. The musket smoke was so dense that it took some time to clear, and when it did, I could not believe my eyes.
Young Anis was standing on the ground, directly under the nail. He was unharmed. I meant to say that there was not the least trace of injury on his person. It took me a while to realize the Bab was gone. I think it was a voice in the crowd crying, "They say the Bab has gone from our sight," that brought this fact to my attention.
Now mark you this. I know my men. They are all very well trained. It is a very rare occasion that one of them misses their mark. But my God, all 750 of them had missed.
An examination of the scene found that some of the bullets had severed the ropes by which the Bab and his young companion had been bound to the wall. The crowd began to grow very restless at this discovery. "Where has the Bab gone?" some exclaimed. "He has ascended to the heavens," others were heard responding. Indeed, the guards soon found that the Bab had indeed returned to his prison cell.
We learned later that before the guards had made their failed attempt, they had come to take the Bab for his execution. The Bab was dictating a tablet to his secretary and proclaimed he has not yet finished. The guards laughed, scoffing at the prisoner who dared to be so bold as to attempt to determine the very time of his own execution. They insisted, but as they led him away, he assured them that until he had finished with his earthly business, no power would be capable of subduing him.
And there he was, back in his cell, finishing up his business. And now he told the guards that he was ready to meet his destiny. The spectacle of my regiment's failed execution was plenty enough for me. I ordered my men in the most forceful manner to cease the premises and quit their activity immediately. There was something beyond extraordinary, even beyond mystical, something so glorious about this person, the Bab. And I am forever grateful for him, for allowing him to relieve me of the fate of being his executioner.
Akka Jankhani Khamshi and his Nasri regiment were ordered to replace Samkhan's men and perform the gruesome task. Another 750 men, this time a Muslim contingent, assembled just as before, 3 ranks of 250 men.
A similar number of people stood and watched, though this time the cord with which they were suspended had been shot into pieces. This time their bodies were shattered. Then I witnessed the bodies of the Bab and his young companion, unrecognizable, and the face of the Bab, unmarred.
It is said that the Bab addressed the crowd before his execution, and, referring to his young companion Anis, saying, "Had you believed in me, O wayward generation, all of you would have followed the example of this youth, who stood in rank above most of you, and would have willingly sacrificed yourselves in my path. The day will come when you will have recognized me. That day, I shall no longer be with you."
I know too that the instant the second round of shots were fired, a sandstorm of such degree, the likes of which Tabriz had never known, blotted the rays of sun out of sight until the sun herself set and rose on the following day.
That night, the bodies of the Bab and Anis were dragged through the streets and left to lie unceremoniously beside a moat at the outskirts of the city. Everyone who signed the death warrant or played any part in the execution of the Bab soon died horrible deaths. The entire Nasri regiment, all 750 men, perished soon thereafter. The remaining 500 men were put to death 3 years hence, as a result of a mutiny in which they had engaged. They were executed the same way they had executed the Bab. Now, you tell me.
Was this some strange series of coincidences?
The result of sorcery?
Or could this all have been drawn by the hand of God himself?
You can't keep me here. The love in my heart is too great. This world gives me no fear. This fire will burn all the darkness away, and I will give it all for you. Give it to you. All I want is to be close with you. follow you forever. I would sacrifice it all. Knees, he gave it all for you. Knees, his life, he gave it to you. All he wanted was to be close with you. All he wanted was to be close with you. All I want is to be close with you.
Tohle byla výprava do historie a do života Bába.
So this was a little trip to history and life of Bob.
Viděli jsme, že Báb byl za svoje učení umučen.
We saw that Bob was executed for his teachings.
Ale celý to mělo velký důvod. A to je ten, abychom dnes my tady mohli mít zprávy o jeho učení.
But it all had a big reason, so that we could be here today and have messages of his teaching.
Například učení o jednotě lidstva.
For example, the teachings about the unity of mankind.
V čase radosti je naše síla živější, náš intelekt bystřejší a naše chápání je méně omezené.
Joy gives us wings. In times of joy, our strength is more vital, our intellect keener, and our understanding less clouded.
V další části pojďme společně oslavit právě tyhle učení.
In the next part, let's celebrate together this teachings.
Učení o jednotě lidstva, o odstranění předsudků, o rovnosti mezi mužem a ženou.
Teachings about unity, removal of discrimination and racism.
A hlavně samozřejmě učení o radosti, které nám Baha'u'lláh a Báb přináší.
And of course, teachings about the joy that Baha'u'lláh and Báb bring us.
Prosím ještě, nechte si potlesk až po čtvrtém vystoupení, celkem teda budou 4. Dear friends, please save the applause until the end of the sections after the 4th performance. Thank you. Teď je čas, abychom ještě jednou poděkovali všem, kteří dneska vystupovali.
Let's thank everyone once again who has
Prosím, velký potlesk. So, all of you who performed, please come on stage. Tak, teď tady máme všechny vystupující, abychom jim mohli poděkovat. Ještě bych chtěl poděkovat Pamele, která se velmi podílela na organizaci tohoto večera.
We also want to thank Pamela for organizing and helping us.
Tak ještě jednou moc vám děkujeme.
Once again, big thank you.
Tak a úplně na závěr. Chtěli bychom vás pozvat
We would like to invite you
na promítání filmu, které se jmenuje Svítání světla a je to film o životě Bába.
There's going to be a movie in the local theater. It's called The Dawn of Light. It's about the life of Bob.
Tohle to bude v 19 hodin, pondělí 4. listopadu v kině tady na Hluboký.
This will be this coming Monday, 4th of November, 19 o'clock or 7 p.m. As I said, in the local movie theater.
Pokud vás zajímají, jaké jsou Bahá'í aktivity, co Bahá'í dělají, nebo nebo pořádají v místních společenstvích, a nebo pokud se zajímáte o Bahai učení, tak já bych vás ukázal na stánek, který je po vaší pravé straně. Je tam hodně materiálů o Bahai učení, o aktivitách, fotografie z Bahai komunit z celého světa, protože Bahai víra je mezinárodně téměř v 200 zemích po celém světě. Tak pokud budete mít chvilku, tak se tam zastavte a klidně si něco vemte sebou.
If you're interested about the faith or about the activities of the Baha'i faith, there's a table with booklets on your right. There are also pictures of all of Baha'is all around the world. Baha'i faith is in almost 200 countries now. And yeah, you can of course ask many people here. I believe they could help you out.
A teď jsem zapomněl, co jsem chtěl říct, ale už jsem si vzpomněl, že jsem vás chtěl všechny pozvat, abyste si užili občerstvení, které se nachází a potom, pokud máte čas a nespěcháte zrovna, tak budeme moc rádi, když tady po občerstvení zůstanete i na afterparty, kde bude nějaký zpívání a tak.
Okay, so there are refreshments behind you that please feel free to take some and eat them as well. And afterwards, if you're free, there's after party happening. So if you have time, stay and take part.
Takže chtěl bych vám ještě jednou poděkovat jménem celého Bahai společenství Hluboké nad Vltavou, že jste tady s námi dneska byli, moc si toho vážíme a že se ten významný den 200letého výročí od narození Bába tady s námi mohli slavnostně oslavit. Děkujeme.
And once again, thank you for coming and taking part in this celebration. On behalf of the whole Baha'i community of Hluboká and everyone who took part, thank you for coming.